Darkness falls, and with it, the truth emerges. In a world where the line between fact and fear is blurred, beneath the surface of forgotten towns and restless graves, hide secrets soaked in blood and whispers that never die. From the chilling depths of true crime to the unexplained shadows of the paranormal, we dive into the stories that haunt both past and present. Welcome to Realm of Darkness.
Oh, Ashley, how are you?
I am doing good. How are you?
I'm cold. I mean, it's been cold. It feels like forever, but
Well, and we're supposed to get more snow tonight too.
well, yeah, we're supposed to get it tomorrow, and we're supposed to drop down into Antarctica temperatures again. So I'm very excited for all of that.
Yeah. I was just talking to somebody at work about how we were talking that it's warmer in Alaska than it actually is here. So
It's insane. It's insane. But what also is insane is tonight's show, because when you brought this one to me, I'm like, what? How is that a real thing? Ashley was, I almost said involved in a bank robbery, like you were part of it. but that's not the story. You were there
Mhm.
when this whole thing went down. And it's kind of an interesting thing because I've never really talked to anybody that's kind of been in that kind of situation before. So I think it's one where like we can kind of get a different perspective from somebody that was, at the scene of a crime, kind of.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird because, when I was thinking about what we could talk about on this week's show, I was like, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, I don't think I ever told Nate that I was in a bank robbery. And then I realized, like, I started telling my dad the story, and even like there were details and things that happened that even my dad didn't know. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I've ever actually really talked about what happened and like the perspective of being in the bank when all of this happened. So I thought it would be a fun topic tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So like it was legit an armed robbery, correct?
Yes. So do you want me just to get into the story and
Yeah,
kind of
just
what
go ahead.
happens?
Part of this too, I purposely didn't ask you anything. I didn't want to know anything. I kind of want to be a outsider listening to your story and like interjecting myself and asking questions because one, it's insane. Two, I think it's going to be kind of interesting. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and start with the
So this happened in September of 2011. So it's been years.
15 years almost.
Yeah, so it's been about 15 years. So it was September of 2011. I was in college and I was going to the bank. I think with the with the events that took place, I don't even remember what I was going to the bank for. But my best friend worked at the bank, and I think I was going to like something with my name or paperwork or whatever, because it wasn't at like the actual teller. It was sitting down at one of the desks. And my best friend worked there, so I decided I was going to have her do whatever I needed. So I go to the bank, and it's sometime in the afternoon. And it's funny now, but at the time I walked in and I told my best friend, I said, hey, do you want to go to lunch now, or do you want to handle this and then we can go to lunch? So I blame her a lot. And she goes, why don't we take care of this and then we'll go to lunch? Well, we never made it to lunch. But so we're sitting at the desk, and I actually have pictures of the people who did the robbery. So I'll have to kind of explain it. But when you walk into the bank, it's double doors. And on this side was all the tellers. My best friends desk was like in the front. So if you walk straight in, you would look right at her desk. And then on this side, there was like other desks where you could do like mortgages and things like that. So I'm sitting at her desk. I'm facing her. She's looking at me. The window's behind us, all this stuff. And we're talking. And all of a sudden, we hear pop, 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 pop. And she looks at me and she goes, "We're getting robbed." And my first thought was, are you kidding me? Right?
You were mad, yeah.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if I would have been pissed. I might have been like, "Oh no, I'm gonna hide."
I was pissed. And it's funny now, but like in the moment, I remember I took my purse and I threw it back behind her desk, and I had rings on, and I turned all my rings, and then I was like this. Because I'm like, they're gonna take all my jewelry, and this is, you know, things my dad had given me.
So like sentimental stuff you don't want to lose. Yeah.
And you know, I always love true crime, so I'm like, they're gonna go around and take all the women's stuff. So after we heard the shots, we hear everybody get on the ground, everybody on the ground, and 3 men come running in, and they all have guns, and they're wearing, I think they were ski masks, but you could not see their face at all. You couldn't even see their eyes. They had on gloves, they had on hoodies, things like that. So they're yelling at all of us to get on the ground. So we all lay on our stomachs because that's how they told us to do it. They're like, lay on your stomach, put your face on the ground. So we do. My friend lays under her desk. I lay next to it. And I had my ex-boyfriend was with me, and he was the only man in the bank at the time. So one of the robbers went to the side where the tellers were, and they were kind of, you know, getting the money out of that. One of them stood with a foot on either side of my ex with a gun to his back and was saying, "Don't be a hero. Don't be a, you know, effing hero. Yeah. Don't do this, dude." You know, the typical thing. And
why was he like acting like he was about to do something, or is it just because he was the only guy, you think?
I think it's because he was the only guy. Okay. Because at the time there was one person who was the manager, and they were like on that side where the desks, so they had their little office that was all glass. It was him, my best friend, and me, and then there were 2 or 3 tellers. So I think they kind of split and conquered. And from where my ex was laying, he wasn't too far from my best friend and I. So that guy kind of had the 3 of us. The one guy had the manager, and the other guy had the tellers. So yeah, they were standing over him, a foot on either side of his hips, and they just kept saying, "Don't be an effing hero. Don't be an effing hero." And, you know, you're all laying like this, and I kind of look over, and I can hear some of the tellers crying. Well, that guy had gone over and was getting the money out of the drawers, and one of the girls kind of panicked, kind of froze, and she like had slid down, so she was kind of sitting on the ground, and he basically hit her in the head. I don't know if it was with the gun or the drawer, but she did have like lacerations and things on her head. But because she was lower, we couldn't tell if he pulled the drawer and hit her or if he took the gun and hit her. I'm not really 100% sure on that. And then the other guy, this is where things kind of got a little scary. So the manager was not listening at all. When to
the people, like just ignoring what they were saying and stuff like that.
Everything. So when they were telling everybody to get down, she did not get down. She was kind of sitting at her desk, like staring at them, and they kept saying, "Get down, get down." And of course, I'm leaving out the language that they were using.
Just for perspective too, like in that situation, why wouldn't you cooperate and listen? Because one, at the end of the day, it's your life, and like you're not, like, we tell our people, like, if something like that ever happens where I work, give the people what they want, because your life is worth more than whatever they're going to take here. So
yeah, and it was insane. And she wasn't listening, and in the moment, it was really scary. And then like,
Mhm.
because there's more to what happened with her, but then like after the fact, we were all angry because she put not only her own life at risk, but she put ours at risk
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And so she wasn't getting down. And the third guy, I'll say one for the tellers, two for us, and three for her. The third guy went over to her and grabbed her by the back of the hair and
Mhm.
drug her to the middle of the floor, which in the pictures, I might be able to show you where that was, but it was
Mhm.
probably just a few feet from where me and my best friend and my ex
Mhm.
were. And the way that I was kind of positioned, I was trying to keep an eye on them, but not like noticeably.
Mhm.
And then my best friend was under the desk, so she could see everything going on from the gap.
Mhm.
Um, but the third guy, he drugged the manager to the middle of the floor and he's screaming at her, get
Mhm.
down, get down. I said, get down, BITCH, I said, get
Mhm.
down.
Mhm.
And she wouldn't do it. She was down on her knees and then she got down like on her knees and her elbows.
Mhm.
And, he was screaming like, I'll blow your effing head off. He had the gun and
Mhm.
she just wasn't listening. And
That's
I
wild.
remember like in that moment, like I knew her too. Like
Mhm.
she worked at the bank, but like I had physically, like I knew her. And I
Mhm.
remember being like, holy hell, like I'm going to watch her head get blown off right here in this bank.
Mhm.
And eventually, after a couple minutes of screaming and yelling, he forced her down.
Yeah.
She didn't go willingly, but he did force her down. And then she kept trying to like look up and look at him,
Mhm.
which was just making them all very angry.
Yeah, that's
Um,
like, you don't do that because, 1, they don't want you to see anything about them, I would imagine, like, they don't want any, like, distinctive like, you said, like, they're pretty much covered in the face, you can't see
mhm.
anything anyway, but they're still I'm sure not from their perspective, they're probably paranoid too, you know what I mean? They don't wanna get
Yeah,
caught, so, yeah,
just listen.
just listen, yeah.
Yeah, well, and thinking too, like if he's threatening to shoot you or to, blow your head off
Mhm.
or all the different things he was
I'm
yelling.
getting down if somebody's yelling that at me.
Well, and
I'm listening.
there's bank robberies that you see on TV where they go in
Uh,
with guns and the guns aren't loaded,
yeah,
but they came in firing. So
yeah,
we knew and
yeah, they weren't messing around.
right. And it's really weird because when the original shots happened, we were all kind of like, what the hell was you don't expect it to be
Mhm,
gunfire.
yeah.
Um, and I
Well,
did
yeah,
not
you're
realize.
minding your own business at the bank
Mhm.
and you hear bop, 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 like,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen ever. Like, that's not something you normally hear at the bank.
No, and I remember, like, I even because where they came in would have been, like I would have had to look up, and I remember looking at them and seeing them, and
Mhm,
it still didn't click until
mhm,
my best friend goes, "Oh my god, we're getting robbed," and I was like,
mhm.
"Really?
Well,
Like, are you kidding me
mhm.
right now?"
So
Like,
you sounded, like, a little agitated about it. You
oh,
weren't, like,
I was so
scared or
mad.
nervous or anything?
I wasn't scared
Mhm,
really until like, I was annoyed, but I was like, "Okay, if we all listen, we'll be fine."
yeah,
You know, not a lot of bank robberies end in killings.
yeah,
So I'm like, "Okay, get down, put your head down, do what they say, listen to their instructions, and
mhm,
they're gonna leave." Because
yeah,
the motive is money, it's not murder,
yeah,
and they wanna get in and get out as quick as they can.
yep,
And
yeah,
honestly, killing 7 people is gonna take longer. So I wasn't
yeah,
scared until they drug her to the middle of the floor and hearing the change in the voice going from
mhm,
get down to bitch, I said get down, I'm gonna blow your
mhm,
head. Like then I was like,
yeah,
oh my god. And at
mhm,
that point when he had the gun to her head and he was shoving her to the ground, I absolutely closed my eyes. I remember being
yeah,
like, I don't want to see her get her. I don't want to see this
mhm,
happen.
yeah,
And like I was like this, and I remember I just put my head down and I closed my eyes, and I was waiting to hear the gunshot
mhm,
because she
mhm,
wasn't listening. And another fear that kicked in is like if he shot her, would the other guys then would my ex, because he wasn't my ex at the time, but like, would he get shot because of what she did? Would the tellers get shot? The tellers were all my friends, my best friend, me, all this stuff is going through my head. And I'm just thinking like, oh my gosh, she's going to get killed right here. And she had kids. I knew she had kids. So that was probably when I got really like, okay, this is scary. I don't want to be here. But he shoved her to the ground, and the first guy ended up getting the money out of the registers. And once that first guy said, I got it, then the one that was standing over my ex kind of like went back toward the door. The other guy released the manager. And I mean, he still had a handful of hair with her face on the ground, released her, and they all took off running. And when they ran out of the bank, there was this poor little lady. This little tiny, like 85-year-old woman, itty bitty little petite thing, was walking in, and one of the tellers had hit the emergency button, which means that the vestibule, there's 2 doors to come in. So you have to come in the first set and then the second set. It locks the first set. And then when the second set is closed, it locks that set. So she waited until the men were through that first door so that they couldn't get back in. And this little lady had just crossed through the second door and they were already out. So she locked those doors so that they couldn't come back in, and they had taken off. And where the bank sat, so it's in Akron, Ohio. I'm not going to name the bank because it still is in operation and it's still where it is. But so they had taken off, and there's woods behind the bank, and the woods kind of go down, and then it gets into a lot of different roads and streets and circles, and it's easy to disappear. There's a lot of houses and churches. So there's places that they could go. So they took off, and we were all locked in the room, or we were all locked in the bank. The police show up. They come in. We're not allowed to leave. We all had to be questioned. We all had to be questioned. They did it a couple different ways. So they questioned us all separately, and then they questioned us together, just to kind of see how things lined up.
If anybody was lying, stuff like that. Because, hey, for all they know, one of you guys might have been in there helping them too. I can imagine. Anything's on the table at that point.
Exactly. And I mean, thankfully, my ex and I were the only 2 people, like customers in the bank at that time. But so after they had questioned us, because we were all sitting like in these lobby chairs or whatever, they wanted us all to go back to where we originally were. So, the tellers went to where they were, the manager, my best friend, and I, and then my ex. And I remember sitting at the desk, and my best friend, I mean, it's just a normal desk. She's sitting, I could, touch her face. She was so close. And we're looking at each other, and the cop looks at both of us, and he's like, it's your guys' lucky day. And we're like, what? And so if you were her, okay, so we're facing each other. There was a window here. Right between me and her is where one of the bullets hit.
Oh, goodness.
If I would have been a foot forward or she would have been a foot closer, it would have gone right through our head.
And then you're talking about a whole different thing.
Yeah. And that's when, like, me and her, like, because originally we were just angry, and we didn't even, when the first gunshots went off, like, we didn't realize that one went straight between us, right into the glass. But from where we were sitting, we literally could just put our finger right into the bullet hole. It was insane. Wow. And that's when we're both like, holy crap, we just came this close to like possibly getting shot in the head.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's something like completely different than like, one, you just went through a bank robbery, and 2, you just realized, man, you keep praying to whoever you pray to, because that could have been,
if I was standing up, or, if she would have been leaning over, having me sign something, because, when you go do paperwork, they're leaning forward, they're going over it with you. If she would have been doing any of that, like, she could have been killed right there in front of me. And she's been my best friend for 20 years, so it was really scary. And then, so we're all in this room, we're all in the bank, we can't leave. And this this poor little lady couldn't leave either. So she was
Was
locked.
she was she locked in between the 2 doors?
No, she was locked
Okay,
inside with
that's in my
us.
head, I was picturing that she got locked
No,
she got locked in between the 2 doors or something like
no,
that.
she was actually locked inside the bank with us. But the
Yeah.
bad thing is, she, like I said, she was probably 80, 85. Her
Mhm.
husband was in the car
Oh,
outside. So he sees these three masked men
mhm.
with guns run out
Yeah.
because they didn't holster their guns. They didn't have
Mm-mm.
holsters on. They just were free flight.
Yeah.
And so the lady's sitting there and we're all on the ground, like slowly
Mhm.
she's like, what happened? Are you guys okay? We're like, no, we just got robbed at gunpoint. Like
Uh-huh.
it was, and she had to stay. And then it was such a big case because, this happened in September and come December, they're still not caught.
Yeah.
So it turned into a lot more because it did become a bigger case. They ended up at the end of it. So there were multiple banks getting robbed.
Okay.
And they do think that it was all the same guys because it was the same process. They would come
Mhm.
in, bam, bam, boom, get down, get down. So it was like from what we had said, it was very
Mhm.
similar to what all these other banks were going through.
Mhm.
And I don't remember the exact total. I actually asked my friend if she remembered, but I want to say our bank, I think they got away with like less than 10. I think it was like 5 to 7 grand. So
Yeah.
not even worth it because it's considered a federal, like the
Mhm.
FBI was involved in investigating this case. But yeah, I think all in all, they ended up robbing, I want to say like 3 or 4 banks within Akron, multiple banks on the same street. And I think
Yeah.
it's because it
The
has the
woods.
areas that you can get
Yeah, the
away.
woods and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if they're not getting a car, they're not doing any of that, they're
Mhm.
just booking it as soon as they leave.
Yeah.
So, from the time they walk in to the time they leave, how long do you think that whole situation was?
Ooh. Um, I would say maybe at max 10, 15 minutes. At
Mm,
max.
it's
And
it's kind of a long time, yeah, yeah.
that's from hearing the shots to getting
Mhm,
locked in.
mhm.
And I think I'm overestimating. In
Yeah.
reality, it was
Well, I
probably
mean,
5 to 10 minutes, but in the
yeah,
moment, especially with the
it
manager,
feels like
like
a lifetime.
it would, yeah, and
Mhm,
maybe 5, 10 minutes, but
mhm.
like I said, with the portion of them dragging the manager out and having the gun
Yeah,
to her head, like it seemed like it was forever.
mhm.
And I
I
will
can
say
imagine.
they didn't go through purses, they didn't take jewelry.
No.
That's why I think they were really just in it for the cash.
Yeah.
Um, and they really didn't even get away with a lot. But I do know that there was like a $10,000 reward put out for information or anything that pertained to them. Um, and there were multiple banks that were robbed all in the same way that we were robbed.
Mhm,
Um, and at the end of the day, technically they were caught. There is only one that is doing time for it.
mhm.
So the police finally caught up with them. They finally figured out who it was.
Oh, Ashley's gone. Well, she must have had connection issues. There she is. I can't
Am I
hear
back?
you. Yeah, I think you're back.
Okay, I was like, it said I lost connection.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so they ended up finding out who they were, tracking them down, and it ended up in a police pursuit throughout Akron. And long story short, one of the suspects was killed in a shootout with the police.
Wow.
Another suspect realized that they were caught and he didn't want to go to jail. I mean, because the FBI was involved,
Yeah.
they had robbed multiple banks. They're going away for a while. He
Yeah.
did um, uh, take his own
Yeah.
life.
There you
So
go. Yeah.
yeah, I was trying to figure out a politically
Yeah.
correct way to say it. So one of them did take his own life, and then the other one was arrested. So I don't know exactly how long he got because, ironically, you cannot find it anywhere. You cannot
No.
find it anywhere on the internet. I was looking and I was, messaging the girls I knew from the robbery to see if they remembered, and none of us really remembered. But yeah, so that happened. And I remember I was in college, and to make it a little bit funny, I had class that night, and I was locked in this bank for hours, So I have my phone and I email my professor and I'm like, hey, I know we have class tonight. I'm not going to make it. I'm currently being questioned by the police because I was in a bank robbery. And the professor was like, if you didn't want to come to class, you could have just said you're not coming. And I was like, you MFer. And I sent, like, as soon as it hit, like, articles, I'm like, listen, like, this was legit. Like, I didn't make this up. But yeah, a lot of people think that it's made up and that it didn't really happen because you can find, like, the shell of the case online, but you can't find the details. And I think it's because there were so many banks that were robbed and there were so many, they're protecting families and things like that. So
they don't want names and all that stuff. Yeah. So did you, after the fact, were you like, I know some people have like PTSD from a kind of situation like that. Did you have anything like that at all?
Surprisingly, no. No, I didn't have any PTSD. I didn't have like any nightmares.
You weren't nervous going back to the bank or anything like that?
No, I wasn't really nervous. I think because like after that, I want to say it was shortly after that the bank had a security guard. Because I do remember there being one guy, with a gun standing at the door at all times. So I wasn't really worried about it. My main concern is that, my best friend worked there, and I was like, you need to get out of this. Like, you have a child, you're a single mother, like, you can't be in these situations because what if one person does come in and they're not only there for cash,
Yeah.
And she ended up quitting shortly after that. And so did a lot of the other girls. And I think a lot of it, one, was because of the robbery, but two, if you're going to work at a job, you need to be able to trust that your manager is going to keep you safe and going to do what's in your best interest. And as a customer, I think, like, I felt like she put us all at risk. So I couldn't imagine being like her employee as well. Because I think she handled the entire situation completely wrong.
100% from my perspective. Yeah. Like, just listen, at the end of the day, I'm sure it was probably, I'm not going to ask you what the bank is, but it's probably like a major bank, right? Like one of the bigger ones.
So if something at that time, yes. At that time, yes.
If something happens to you, they're just going to replace you. It's not worth it. It's not worth putting your life at risk at the end of the day. So just listen to somebody if they're telling you to get down on the ground, because like you said, that puts everybody in risk at that point. If one person's not, just go with the flow. Let them get what they want, because at the end of the day, it's not worth it for you or anybody else. So,
well, and also, like, clearly, if they're robbing a bank, they're either in a horrible situation that they're trying to get out of with cash, or they're not mentally sound. And I am sorry, but if anybody is holding a gun to my head, and I'm not saying like it was like two, and they're telling me to get down and close my eyes. Yes, sir. Like,
I'm gonna do whatever you.
Yeah, like that cash in the drawer is not worth my family having to bury me.
No.
And it was just. Yeah, I do remember, like, my friends and the girls that worked there, they were, like, appalled by how she acted. And thank God those guys were a little, not that they were, like, cool-tempered, but, if they're there for a reason and you're not listening, like, you could have really made them upset and they could have hit you, could have shot you, they could have been like, well.
Anything, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if they're like you said, they're just there for money. They don't want to catch a murder charge on top of it, because that's something completely different.
Yeah.
So
and I will say though, so it's not PTSD, but maybe, but I think that's because I was so young, I think I was like 21 or 22 when this happened. That this instance is what made me start being more aware of people in my surroundings. So like when I go to restaurants, I don't like my back to the door. I look for exits. I mean, you've traveled with me, you know how I am.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, and that has stuck with me where I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
that person looks sketchy. I'm going to keep an eye on them. Or,
Mhm.
do they have something that could be like those kind of things did stick with me. And before, maybe it was age.
Mhm.
Maybe it's because I hadn't really been through something like that. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, la 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 la, like,
Yeah, you're
just
yeah.
going out. But
Bright-eyed, bushy tail, just,
yeah,
everything's great. But, not to take it, but in this world now where we live, you kinda have to be like that just because
yeah,
you never know. You
yeah.
never know. So,
You do. And these guys, when we pull these pictures up, like I said, like
mhm.
they look scary. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't see anything on them. You can't, and
Mhm.
that was the hardest part when the police were asking, like, what was what color were they? What color were their
Uh-huh.
eyes? All the questions that police asked. And we were all like, we
You
don't
can't see.
know.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
couldn't see a skin color, you couldn't see
Mhm.
eyes, and you can't make a judgment based off of someone's voice. And
No.
really only two of them spoke, not all. The third or the first
Mhm.
guy that was up, I never heard him speak. I don't know if
Yeah.
he did, but I never
Mhm.
heard him. um,
Yeah.
but again, most of my attention was the guy holding a gun to my now ex-boyfriend's back, and
Mhm.
the one that I thought he was going to blow her head off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
What
The worst part
sorry.
is not like them not getting caught for so long,
Mhm.
because then you're like, okay, well, they know they got away with it before. Are they going to come back? And
Mhm.
that was like my friend working there. I'm like, please, like, be careful, get
Yeah.
out of there. Like, what if they come back? They know
Mhm.
it's easy to rob. They know, aside from the one, nobody's going to
You
fight back.
that harkens back to, like, everything we've talked about on the podcast where usually the person comes back to the scene of their crime, so
Mhm.
it doesn't matter if it's a murder or what, but they
Yeah.
usually come back, so,
Well,
yeah,
and
I
that's
totally
what I
feel you.
wonder too, because I'm not going to say, like, there are parts of Akron, Ohio that are beautiful and they're great
Mhm.
areas, but they're just like any city. There's parts that, like, you're going to lock your doors when you drive through it.
I mean,
And
Ohio,
this,
so I totally understand.
yeah, but this area at the time wasn't
Yeah.
like that. Like, it wasn't far from where I grew up. It wasn't one
Mhm.
of those areas where I felt like I needed to clutch my purse and lock my door. Like, it just wasn't that. For
Mhm.
the so for this to happen like that, it was just, and for it to happen at multiple banks, it was just,
Yeah.
yeah, they were pretty ballsy for
Mhm.
sure. And back
Why
then,
don't yeah.
2011, we had cameras, but not like we do
Yeah,
now.
not cameras everywhere, and anywhere you
Mhm.
walk now, people have cameras on front of their house, so
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have all
most of
that.
the time, yeah. So you did describe them. Why don't you pull up the picture so everybody kinda see what you're talking about? Where you,
Yeah.
like, you can't describe anything about them. You can't see
Mm-mm.
anything that discerns them from anybody else.
Mm-mm. So the first picture is the one of the guys that was walking, the one that went to I want to say he might have been the first or second guy in. I can't remember,
Mhm.
but so if I don't know if it's gonna let me pull it open. I'm trying. There it is. Okay, so this is the first guy, and you can see, like, if you're looking at the screen on the right, you can see where the tellers are.
Yeah.
And then you see like the center console where you would fill out your normal paperwork. But in that
Mhm.
back left corner, that brown like square,
Yeah.
so that was my best friend's desk.
Okay.
There's like a reflection. I don't know if that is the chair that I flipped when they started yelling at us to get down, or if that is somehow a reflection of me. But where you see
Uh-huh.
that gray and that brown, that is where I was laying somewhere in
Okay.
there. That window behind me is the window that they had shot. So
Okay.
where that like little yellow is,
Yeah,
um, my
I
friend
see.
was right on the other side, and right above that is where they had shot. I tried
Jeez.
to zoom in to see if we could see the bullet hole, but you can't. It got too blurry.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But like this guy, he's in, and this is September, so it's hot in
Yeah.
Ohio. And he comes in like this, and like I said, you can't, the tinted,
Nope.
glasses.
You can't see anything, yeah.
And they all had gloves on, so you can't see
Mhm.
race or anything like that. So that was, we'll say, guy number one. Here is the second guy.
Ooh.
So
That looks like a
again,
paintball mask he's wearing.
yeah, something, and that's what I couldn't remember, it was a ski mask or a paintball mask, but
Mhm.
I remember
Yeah.
you couldn't see their eyes.
Mhm.
Um, and so that like thing in the back, that's the middle. So when they drug the manager out, it would have
Mhm.
been like right kind of to the right of that,
Okay.
where they had her. I believe it would have been in camera shot, but of course we only have pictures of the suspects.
Mhm.
And then this is the guy that had the bag that went and got the money from the tellers.
Okay.
So, and again, you can't see skin color, face,
No.
eyes, nothing. And like I said, they had gloves on, so they couldn't pull fingerprints, nothing like that.
Mhm.
And then the last picture is the guy who came in shooting. You can clearly see the gun in his, I believe, would be right hand. So I'm going to pull that one up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you can see the gun in his right hand. So he was the one that came through the door first and started firing shots. And that banner kind of to the left,
Mhm.
right behind that is where my friend's desk was that we were sitting
Okay.
at. So yeah, he and like I said, he came in showing the gun. The other two did not show it right away. But
Yeah, but
I will say the guy that had the bag, I never saw him with a gun. I don't know if he had one, but I never saw him with it.
Mhm.
I did see this guy because he was the first one that we saw when he came in firing. And then I saw the guy that dragged the manager to the middle of the floor. So, yeah. And like I said, you can clearly see they all have gloves, they all have
Yeah.
masks. This one, you can clearly see has a gun in his hand.
Yep.
So, yeah. So that was definitely an interesting experience that,
I would imagine, yeah. I mean,
too.
that's one I've never been through.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because when you're in a situation like that, you really learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've been in some really crazy situations throughout my life. And it is true. It is fight or flight, and in this
Mhm.
situation, like you think you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But I remember like, are you kidding me right now? Seriously? Like that was my
Yeah.
thought process. And then
Mhm.
I didn't even realize that I had taken my purse and threw it behind and spun my rings and like
Yeah.
until after. And I was like,
It's like you sound like a veteran, like you knew what you were doing in this
yeah, I
situation.
get
Like
robbed all the time.
you've been through this before.
No, I think it's just on my true crime shows, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess just instinctively,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
just was like, they're gonna take our jewelry, they're gonna take our
Mhm.
purses, they're gonna take the, this and that, our IDs. And my one thing about crime is you can have my purse, you can have my money, but I'm not giving over my ID because it has my
Yeah.
address on it. So
Yeah.
I think that was part of my like throwing my purse because my ID was in there.
Mhm.
And I'm like, they could, yeah, I don't know. But that was my process until I thought somebody was going to get shot. Then it was
I
complete fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Fear. So you were kind of fearful for a bit, I would imagine, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Like I said, once I saw them dragging her to the floor, I'm like, that's it. Like, I'm going to see her
Yeah.
get murdered right here in front of
Mhm.
us. And that's,
And
yeah,
then
fear
thought like,
kicked in.
what happens to you? Like if that happens,
Mhm.
like do they keep just going? Yeah, I can imagine that's something that would in the moment, like thankfully, obviously nothing happened to anybody, but like in the
Yeah.
moment, like the stress going through your mind and your body, I'm sure at that moment was something else.
Yeah. Well, and I remember, like I told you earlier, like I shut my eyes because I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't want to
You don't
see
want to
this
see.
woman get murdered. And then also
Mhm.
like if she's not listening, what are they gonna do if they think we're all looking?
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm like,
if you're
one,
like all
I don't
conspiring to do something.
yeah, I'm like, I don't want to see her get her head blown off. And then I'm
Mhm.
closing my eyes because I'm not taking one in the back either. Like just
So knowing who you are, and sometimes you're a little outspoken and will speak your mind. Did it ever cross your mind, like just to yell at her, "Shut the fuck up and get down"? Like,
yes.
okay,
Yes, I 100% in my head was like, just listen, just
shut the
effing listen.
get down,
But
yeah.
yeah, but by the time I got to that point, I was already scared. And
Mhm.
I was like, if I to
Yeah,
yell, I'm gonna have to
yeah,
lift my head up and then what is that going to cause? Like, are they going to get startled and shoot her? Are they going to come over and hit me or hurt me? Or am I going to? So it's like, in my head, I'm like, just make it through it.
Yeah.
Just
keep your
make
mouth
it
shut and
through
do
it. Right. Well, and then, the one guy that was standing over my ex, he was right. I mean, I could have turned around and like grabbed his little ankle and be like, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah.
So he wasn't far.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a gun, and I was like, I don't want him to shoot him. I don't want.
See your brother just doing what you're doing, and like she's on her own at that point. Like,
yeah.
It's
Well,
wild.
and it's interesting because you see these people who go through bank robberies, and they're like, "Oh, if I was ever in that situation, I'd tackle him and take the gun." To hell you will. When you got 3 people with guns, they tell you to get down, you're getting down. Yeah.
If it's a whole group of people, that's a different situation. Like one person, maybe all of you could overpower one person, but if you got multiple people, and it's a different game. That's a different game altogether. So
yeah. And I will say, I did when all of it was going on years ago, I did kind of keep track of the case just because it was something that I was in. I will say that in all of the bank robberies that they did, nobody was ever hurt. They always fired shots, but nobody was ever hurt. So I don't know if they just got lucky or if they were going into the banks and knowing at what angle you needed to hold the gun so that they didn't hit anybody. And there are a lot of banks in the area that have security guards. So for them to know which ones, and the banks that they robbed were not the same like corporation, if that makes sense. So they would have had to have gone into these banks at some point to know that there wasn't a security guard, or to know that there wasn't a security guard at that time.
I would imagine they probably went in to scout the layout and everything too. Like for something like that, if I were to rob a bank, I'd want to know like the whole layout ahead of time so I could see like, all right, well, this is where this is what this is over here. Like, I mean, that seems like a common sense thing. So like that's the thing to think about too. Like at some point, those guys were probably all there, like scouting the place out ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I tell my friend, even to this day, if it ever comes up, I'm like, listen, like you're the reason we got stuck in this, because if you would have picked to go to lunch first, we would have been at lunch when this all happened. But no, you said, let's just get this over with and then we'll go to lunch. And then we got stuck in a bank for hours. So it's fine. It's funny to laugh about now. There's a lot of things that we laugh about now, but in the moment it was not.
It wasn't funny, I'm sure. So, given that you've gone through something like that, what, like, if kind of like, I guess, advice would you give to like somebody, like, if they find themselves in that kind of situation?
Honestly, like, I know they always say that if you're a witness to a crime, to take in as much as you can, the sound of the voice, the look of the face, the mannerisms, the walk, and all that. If you have that opportunity, yes. But if your life is at risk and they're telling you, get down, just do what they say. Because we've been doing this for a while. If you listen and you cooperate, especially in something like this, they want in and out. They don't want any trouble. They don't want anybody that's going to put up a fight. They don't want anybody that's going to intervene. And those people are the ones that end up getting hurt. So if you value your life or your family's thoughts of you, like just listen, just get down, close your eyes, cover your head, whatever they tell, just do it. Just do it, because nothing is worth getting shot over.
9 times out of 10, if you do what they're telling you to do, it's not going to end in violence, because like you said, they're trying to get the money and go.
Right. Especially in something like this.
Not to say it can't happen, but I mean, it has happened in the past, but
it's normally the people that intervene in some way, shape, or form. Like I do feel like if my ex would have tried to be a hero, I think they would have blasted him 100%. And thankfully, like he's I don't want to say man enough, but people are like, oh, I'm a big tough guy. I can, no, you know
Alpha.
what? Yeah. The best thing is be a man and lay there. Like take
Yep.
it, like let them do what they're going to do and leave. Shut up, Nate. I knew I shouldn't have said it like that.
Yeah, but no, that's 100% right. Like just do it. Listen.
Mhm.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. So that's such a
And
crazy story.
now that you have the ability, do your banking online.
Yeah. I can't tell you the last time I actually went to a bank.
No.
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 It's a different world now. You think this was what, 15 years ago, you said just about.
Mhm.
So like how things are changed, and like it's almost safer now than it is, because you don't really have to leave your house all that often.
Mhm.
I don't trust people to begin with, but
No, I don't either. And I did recently go to a bank. I had to, my son, he keeps saving money. And now that you bring it up, I walked into the bank and I was like, okay, who's in here? Where's everybody at? Where's the like, and now that you say that,
that's
I'm like, wait a
something
minute,
that's gonna
I
be with
did
you
do
now,
that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you didn't think about it at the time, but that's something because of something you had happen to you. You're noticing your surroundings more. You're watching everybody.
Yeah. And not that it's funny, but I'm like, it's not a fun story, but it's an interesting story. And
Yeah.
until I brought it up, I didn't realize that I've never really talked about it. I've never really told anybody about it. I mean, I make jokes like when someone's like, oh, I'm gonna whatever. I'm like, I've been shot at before. I'm not scared. And everyone's like, oh, okay. I'm like, no, really? Like,
yeah.
Unintentionally, yes. But
yeah, it happened.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a crazy story.
Yeah, it definitely. No. And I thought about it because there's a new show on that's called, oh God, I think it's called How to Rob a Bank, or I Robbed a Bank or something. Yeah. And I was watching it and I was like, oh yeah, I was in a bank robbery. And I was like, Nate, we should talk about this.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I've never talked to anybody that's been in a bank robbery before. So it's kind of, it's interesting because it's a perspective you don't normally hear from somebody. So,
well, and the crazy thing is, like, people think if you rob a bank, you get hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's not true. Like the bank that I was in, I don't know the exact amount, but I want to say it was somewhere between a rough estimate, 5 to 10, less than 10, so maybe like 5 to 7,000. And all the other banks they robbed, they got less than 10,000 too. So it's like you're putting people at risk. You're gonna do a lot of time for really not that much money, unless you're robbing 20, 30 banks and getting away with it, which I doubt. But especially in today's world.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even if you go to, say, like a grocery store, like they're constantly pulling money out of the drawers and like putting it in safes or taking it to the bank. You're not going to get much, like a couple $100. It's not worth it. The time you'll spend in jail and paying, you're going to end up paying more in like fines and all that stuff by the time you're done. It's just than the money you're going to make. So it's not worth it. It really isn't.
Well, and these guys, so I know there was 4 pictures, but there were only 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they were all like mid to late 20s. Yeah. Maybe one of them was early 20s. So they weren't like, they're going to spend a long time. And it's not like, they were older and they were hurting for, no, they were 20s.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But look,
Rick, I agree.
How different things are now, though. Like since then, like you could do like everything online most of the time. Like you still need. I think the last time I really spent time at the bank was like to buy my house. You had to like go for all the mortgage stuff and talk to somebody. So if you got to do something like that, that's understandable. But if you could just do simple stuff, like I can even cash my checks now, like from my house. You don't even have to go like to do any of that. So
well. And it's funny because when's the last time you heard on the news that a bank got robbed?
Honestly, it's been a while. I think I haven't really heard.
Yeah, I can't really think of one.
No.
It's more just like random. Now it's like, marketplace robberies and things like that. But,
well, that's a whole different thing. Yeah, I don't trust people.
We just had yesterday or the day before, there was a 17-year-old kid who met up with somebody to sell a hoodie. And he got robbed at gunpoint. They took the money and they took the hoodie.
They didn't leave the hoodie. That's crazy.
They didn't even leave him the hoodie. But I'm like, people are getting robbed over hoodies nowadays.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane.
That's
it's
what they
just
say.
not...
Like if you buy stuff off a marketplace, like meet somewhere. Don't go to somebody's house for the love of God. Meet somewhere in public. That's the biggest thing I hear. Like, go to the police station. Meet there. Like, don't ever go to somebody's house, especially if you don't know them. If you know them, that's fine.
We had a guy, so we were selling a riding mower years ago before we moved, and this guy wanted it, and he wanted it for parts. And he actually, when he showed up, he got out of the truck laughing, and we're like, "What's so funny?" And he's like, "I'm just gonna let you know." He goes, "I do have a gun in my door." He goes, "I buy a lot of things off Marketplace." He goes, "I always have a gun on me." He goes, "But when I pulled in your neighborhood, I was like, I don't really think I need one here." So he like put it in the door. He's like, "But I just want to let you know."
Yeah.
And we started laughing. We're like, "That's really sad that you have to carry a gun with you when you're buying something."
I mean, it's the world we live in now, unfortunately. Like, things have changed so much, probably, in even the last 15 years since that happened. How different things are compared to what they are now.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and even back then, like, not a lot of people had concealed to carry. There wasn't. I mean, Ohio is an open state, so to like, if you see somebody with a gun, like, that's like kind of startling. You're like, what? You don't have good intentions. Compared to now, you're like, okay, is like, are they exercising their open carry? Are they legit? Are they crazy? Am I about to get shot? Like, so many things run through your head. And I think that the new fear is like the grocery store. I hate going to the grocery store with my son if Brian's not around. I'll go to the grocery store by myself, but I'm like, I mean, you can ask, well, I've got 3 different knives within an arm's reach in my car. Like, and maybe it has something to do with the robbery. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm crazy, but yeah. I've always got something on me at all times.
Something, yeah. I mean, I carry a taser on me now, so
that's a story. That is a story you could tell on here.
So I wasn't involved in that personally. It was a few of my employees, just randomly, like, obviously drugs and all of that are a huge issue now. One morning, my employee was getting out of her car for work, and this lady came up to her and said, "You need to give me a ride." She was under the influence of something, 100%. And my employee, I don't even think she got out of the car. She rolled her window down to talk to her, which is probably smart. But her son works at our place too, and he was already inside. This lady goes up to his car and starts trying to get in. So she calls her son. He comes outside. They both get out of the car to go up to her. And at that point, I think Tommy, he had something, just for safety or whatever. She pulls a knife out on him. And, like, she's laughing at it too. And, like, he's freaking out. This lady's laughing and just, like, doing fake slashes and stuff like that at him. During this time, she called the cops. So as the cops got closer, you could hear them. This is what they said. And you can see the lights coming. This lady just, turns around and starts walking away nonchalant. The cops get there. She turns back around and starts coming back towards them because she's, whatever, she's off her mind with whatever. And like, the cops are yelling at, put the knife down, put the knife down. She didn't put the knife down. So they ended up tasing her. And that's how that ended. She got arrested and all that stuff. Breaking and entering, because she had gotten into, after the fact, a delivery truck. She had gotten into their truck, was rummaging through their stuff while they were in my place, and they didn't know about it. So she gets, actually they found her in the car. They just told her to get out, and they got back on their truck and left. Didn't say anything to anybody. Like, my employees were sitting in the parking lot right across the street. They wouldn't say anything. Wouldn't you, like,
warn them?
Say something? Warn them that this great lady's crazy, like, getting in cars and stuff like that. No, they didn't do any of that. They just left. But stun guns and tasers aren't necessarily legal in New York,
Yeah.
but the cops even told us, like, whatever, get them, like, protect yourself because things are bad out there now between
Yeah.
drugs and like the economy. Like, people are desperate, so
Well, and
always
that's
protect yourself. Have something on you to protect
and
yourself.
check your state laws for sure, because I
Yeah.
want to say, I could be wrong, but I want to say in Ohio, it has to be like,
Mhm.
because a lot of mine are switchblades.
Yeah.
And it has to be
Yeah.
able, whatever.
Yeah.
To each is their own. But I
Mhm.
have a lot of switchblades thanks to my dad. He buys them for me. But
If anybody's watching, we're just kidding. We don't have this stuff. We don't have any of this.
No, they won't attack us, hopefully.
No.
But I think when it's closed, it has to be able to fit like in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
So I know that's something that like we always look at. Like if my dad and I are out looking, we're like, okay, does it fit? Does it fit?
Mhm.
Shut up. But then again, you know what? Like I would be honest. Like if I'm getting attacked or jumped or somebody's trying to pull me into a white van, I'm going to slice and dice, and I will tell the cops, yes, I had a switchblade. It was bigger than my palm. And if I didn't cut and slice, you're going to see me on a milk carton. Yeah. So it's, you got to do what you got to do to protect yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
that's
and you know
the
what?
biggest lesson. Yeah.
And with this, like the lady that you dealt with at work, I don't like, it's best to not engage. Because when somebody is on drugs, and I don't know if you've ever dealt with a situation like this, they are freakishly strong.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be 90 pounds soaking wet, and it's like trying to fight Godzilla. Like they are just, because they have no sense of reality of what they can lift, what they can do, how, and they are freakishly strong. So if this lady has a knife, thank God none of your employees are like, I'm just going to go knock it out of her hand.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know if you ever watch cops when they get tased and they just keep walking at you and you're like, wait a minute, that is not humanly possible.
Nope, exactly. Any of it.
Yeah.
So the theme, always watch your surroundings, always be packing something. That's what you need to know.
And if you get robbed in a bank, throw your purse behind a desk.
Yeah. Take your rings off. Hide them all.
Just spin them. That's all I did. Is I spun them so you couldn't see any of the stones.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. What a crazy story.
Yeah. So
yeah.
When I joke that I've been shot at, that's
no,
where my joke originated from.
Now I know.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I do have to say though, Nate, that art that you made, when you sent it to me, I was on the couch dying laughing for like 20 minutes. I was showing Brian, I showed Cameron. I'm like, this is going to be my profile picture. This is perfect. Oh, Dad. This is, okay. We'll put it up on the screen.
I understand.
I mean,
I see it.
The bank wasn't in the hood.
No,
but it was in a nice, and that's the weird thing too. So you think that people that would rob a bank would rob something that's like off the beaten path.
Yeah.
This bank was on a main road across the street from one of the biggest malls at that time, surrounded by restaurants and people and buses. And I mean, it is a busy area.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why that? There are so many other banks that are like quieter. Yeah. And I don't know if they chose it because it's busy and they could blend in well, or if it was the woods in the back, or I don't know. I feel like if I was going to select a bank, it wouldn't be on a highly traveled, busy road.
Or in a busy city. I'd find
across the street from a mall.
Nowhere. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the mall has cameras, or it did.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, location maybe, but maybe there's more money there because it's in a bigger city area. Maybe that'd be the only thing I could think of. But
Well, and it wasn't like I mean, it was a popular bank because it was in that area across the street from the mall, but it wasn't like a First Merit or a Huntington. Like it,
yeah,
honestly, it's a bank that's only in Ohio. And I don't even know of any other locations than that one.
yeah.
So I don't know. And it wasn't like a high traffic bank either. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was just convenient for them.
Yeah, it's a convenient thing.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Well, now they conveniently rode their elevator to the downstairs.
Yeah. Ding dong.
That was morbid. I'm sorry. I shouldn't joke about people meeting their
God
maker.
Yeah, maybe don't rob a bank and
And you won't get chased.
Yeah. Easy. Problem solved. Well, what do we got next? We're off next week, and then the week after you have something lined up already, right?
Yes. So we do have off next week. The week after that, I don't want to give too much away, but we have a author that's going to be on, and they have a book that is not yet published. I think it's published, but it hasn't released yet. And Nate and I were the very first two to get copies. So we are reading the book. We're going to have the author on. We're going to discuss the book and all the fun things that we think about it. It's funny because Akron, Ohio is in the book.
Oh, goodness.
And I laughed and I messaged them. I'm like, it's so funny to see the Akrons in the book because that's where I'm from. And they thought it was pretty funny. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it online next week. And then after that, it's back to cases. So if there's a case you guys want to see, want to talk about, if somebody wants to be a guest, hit us up. We're always, we're always willing to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
In the meantime, don't go to any banks.
Yeah, stay away from the bank.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, stay away from the bank.
Yep. But, well, thanks for sitting with us. Thanks for listening to my crazy story. Everybody was okay and made it out, survived, so that's a plus. We normally don't get happy ending stories, but until then, we will see you guys in 2 weeks, and stay warm because that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye, everybody.
Bye.